record. And we're going.
And it's already recording, and she just said we're going, and so that's actually part of the show.
It is.
I like this. This has got a whole new flavor to it. All right, so I'm Terry Bean. With me, as always, Janet E. Johnson, where today the E is going to stand for, oh my God, I didn't think of what the E could stand for. Does that start with an E?
We've had a lot of exercises of trying computers.
This is enthrope. I don't even know what that means, but it's an E word. Weird episode today. We're going to actually talk a little bit about us and what we do and how we serve our clients and make a difference for the lives that we touch and impact. I mean, not your lives, Ernie, but like other people's lives. You know, the people that are writing us checks. Like those people, and we should talk about them every now and again. Janet's conversation will be really easy. Mine, convoluted all over the map. Stay tuned.
Well, no, you just, and maybe this is an exercise of us narrowing in what we do. It's funny because we were talking a little bit before the show how I think the Ernie audience here needs to think about that. How are they portraying what they do to others too? Because we were talking about a guy that I know, not going to name names, but my husband and I always look at each other and we go, what does he do even? If we are asking, well, what do they do? Then, if you're getting that, then you need to look at how are you portraying what you do in your business. And that's kind of what we're going to break down today and just talk about our different services and what we do each, so that people really kind of understand us a little more, because we're always interviewing people and educating, but we're not necessarily, sometimes you might walk away from one of these podcasts and go, what the heck do they do?
Well, this is
and like we don't want that.
This is like part 2, right? Because we did this and teased that we were going to do this like a year ago. There's an episode. Janet has a cat. I have a rabbit. It's right there on the cover.
Oh, yes.
We're going to do this. And so in perfect time, here we are. In the old days, I used to talk about, when I first started presenting, I talked about the ideas of you 1.0, you 2.0, and you 3.0. Okay. So, and what that meant in the very old days, people just knew what people did, right? It's what you were: a silversmith, you were a doctor, you were a dentist. I'm talking, you were a farmer way back 100 years ago, right? In the 1970s, 1980s, it wasn't as much about what we knew, right? People always said, well, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Right? And we're all familiar with that phrase. And I always called that you 2.0. Well, I have a software background, not that I ever write any code, but I work with software guys all the time. So I gave a slight update. You 2.5 wasn't necessarily what you know or who you know, it's who knows you. Right? So that's good. You got to have people know you. But what really matters in a you 3.0 world is how you're known. What are you specifically known for? When people think about you, what do they think? And equally important, when people are thinking about the things you do, are you the first person that comes to mind? So that's kind of what we want to get to right there.
Good point. Okay.
So,
good. Cool. I agree.
So how are you known, Janet E. Johnson?
How am I known? Well, let's just put it in for perspective. This is just off the whim, but I got a message this morning when I woke up from a girl from high school saying, Jen and Janet, I wanted to make an intro between the two of you. Jen's company needs some Facebook marketing help. Janet, I know you do this, so making the connection. So, I don't do a whole ton of things on my personal profile for my business, but, enough where I think people have realized what I do. So Facebook marketing is a piece of what I do. I mean, a big part of what I do.
It's a big piece,
big
right?
Chunk, yeah.
If we were to line up all the chunks, right, there would be a lot of chunks that look like Facebook market.
Yeah.
Is that true? What other chunks would we find in there? So Facebook marketing.
Well, bottom line is even building entire sales funnels, but it starts with, the goals of what you want to do for social media and where you want to go, and then figuring out which platforms work the best for that. Facebook's included in every client that I've ever worked with, and then breaking that down to the Facebook marketing, Facebook advertising, and then going, okay, what other things? Because I've worked with so many jewelers and over the years, and I work with a lot of B2Cs, I do have a few B2Bs, then it would go over to Pinterest and Instagram also. So I guess if you look at social media platforms, that would be what I do.
Very, very cool. And I think that's a good description, and I think that's clear and easy enough for people to understand for sure. And always fun to have special guests, right? When they just pop in, it's cute. So just laughing at you is all I'm doing.
I know.
That's it. I'm so not professional about this.
I know. My husband is just,
yeah, he's got stuff
comes
to
in,
do,
just
man.
opening the drawers. No, anyway. Okay.
Speaking of friends from high school, isn't that cute? It's another friend. Does he know Tracy? I want to, now that we're bringing it up. It's like, enough.
Hey, we're on a timeline here. We got to hurry up.
Terry's in a hurry. Keep screwing around. This is fun. Oh, that's awesome.
That is good.
I think I've actually known Jeff longer than I've known you.
Probably. Isn't that's a good point.
That's probably
we'll have to have a show with Jeff on. No, just kidding.
Yeah, no, we totally have to have a show with Jeff on. That would be riot. Did he come back in? Is he grabbing a seat? He's ready?
Yeah, so we'd have to change the title of the show and okay.
We got video bombed is what
just happened. Totally. Video bombed. Sorry about that, Ernie. Sorry.
It's a podcast bomb.
So that's how I work with clients. I mean, I guess bottom line is that's the breakdown of how I work with clients. But my business is broken into different parts where I actually have the online course to help the do-it-yourself entrepreneurs too. I'm working on a membership for the 2018 so that they will get even more on an ongoing basis. Nice. And then my other piece of is live workshops too. So I'm working on a live workshop coming up, and that's specifically to Facebook marketing, advertising, which we started talking about at the beginning. So yes, Facebook's a big, big piece of the pie. But I've been in online marketing so long, that's I can pretty much help with the overall scope of everything social media and even email marketing and everything.
And ultimately, Facebook is where the eyeballs are, period. Yeah. Right? I mean, there's certainly eyeballs on Instagram.
Oh, I lost you, Terry. Can't hear you. Out of the blue. He's just moving. I have no idea. We got to get to what Terry does, but you're back. You're back. It's like a little weird connection thing, so don't move too much.
Don't move too much. Yeah, good. Like you've never met me. Oh, yeah, no, Terry, he did really well in sitting still. Everybody knows that. Yeah, I'm like,
we're just constantly getting interrupted. But that's the gist of what I do. So let's get to what Terry does. Unless you have more questions, I mean, we can, Terry, do you have any more questions? And then we can get on to what you do.
You know what? I would like to have one thing cleared up, and I think Ernie might be interested in this too. What is the difference between Facebook marketing and Facebook advertising?
That's a good question. Facebook marketing is just the overall scope of what you're doing on Facebook. Like, are you creating a content calendar? Do you have, what types of posts are you doing to get out in front of people? The video strategy, your overall strategy and what you're doing, that's the marketing side of things. But you have to integrate the ads nowadays. You have to have the ads anyway, but the ads can be completely separate. I do work with a couple of clients where all I do is I don't do a lot of my clients actually, I don't do their posts, but we do create the strategy. They do the posting, and then I do the ads, bring in the ads for it. So that's actually how I work with most people nowadays, because I'm not them, and I help streamline what they're going to post so they really have a clear goal, strategy, plan of what they're going to be posting, and then they can handle it themselves. And then and I guide them, and I maybe critique, I give reports, all that for how that marketing went, but then I help with, typically I manage ads for the bigger companies just because it's complicated and too much to learn. But if you're littler, then that's why I'm doing that workshop, the one-on-one workshop, or I train in my course too.
Okay, very, very good. So effectively coming up with the overall scope of things and maybe downloading the content that you're going to share and making sure that that's appropriate, and actually even posting is the marketing side. And advertising is when you're actually shelling out the bucks to pay, so you boost the posts or set up advertisement or whatever the case may be.
You got it. And then a lot of bigger companies have community managers too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like a whole new, in the last few years, another position that's different than the coming up with the strategy and the content. And that's basically the responding. So bigger companies that get lots of comments and likes and keeping up with that, and tweets and on Twitter and all these different places, you need a community manager to oversee that. And that's something that I do not do.
Well, and it's hard for you to do, right? Because there's an authenticity piece there. It's got to be in the company voice. It doesn't work if you have a third party doing it. And that's, any of you small business owners that are listening saying, I got to outsource this, otherwise it doesn't get done. To some extent, it's almost better to not have it done than to have somebody else doing it, because it just doesn't work as well.
No, not for really I mean, I have one client actually, and it's a larger client. We do respond. We have set up, like if they ask the price of the piece of jewelry, for instance, we have a static that we send them, copy paste type thing. So that's pretty easy to do. And then we like posts for people sometimes and invite people to like the page and that kind of thing. So we'll do a little bit of it, but if it's a company that really gets a lot of people asking questions and commenting and all that kind of stuff, then I just, that needs to be, like you said, in the company, or messages, especially too, direct messages, they can respond to that. Because a lot of times it's inquiring. We ran a golf cart company for a long time. And if they got a message, it's usually inquiring about a product. They need to monitor that,
Right. Yeah.
And they did.
Even know.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, that makes sense.
All right. Well, good. All right. Well, Terry, if I went up to you and said, what do you do? What do you do? How would that answer be? Doesn't make you money. So. And,
you know what? They're evidently kids are posting on their Twitter handles or on their Twitter accounts their PayPal link. Like, so people can pay them for tweets. I'm thinking about doing that. That sounds like a sweet gig for me. I got this on lockdown.
Well, there's Patreon. I mean, if you've heard of that, that's donation. I know a guy in my industry that does YouTube videos and teaches, and he does Patreon. It's a donation thing for YouTubers, people that are influencers, that kind of thing. If they're giving enough great content, then they ask for the donation, and this guy makes $4,000, $4,000 to $5,000 a month by giving great content. So there's an idea for you, Terry.
That's what I do now. I am one of the leading Patreon recipients because of the content that I put out to help people. Actually, it's funny you say that. I put out a link the other day through Motor City Connect, which is a thing I do. It's a large business networking group that I started in the Detroit area 11 years ago. We just had our 11th birthday 2 days ago. And because I'm the type of person that I am, for Motor City Connect's 11th birthday, I give the people gifts. One of the gifts I gave was a tutorial that I made on how to use LinkedIn search. Right, so I have a very cool e-learning platform that I'm doing some work with and some consulting with, and I'll talk about in a minute. But in order to get the word out about that, I took some of my knowledge, made a course, and I was like, I'm going to share this course and show people how to use this. And one of my buddies who's a sales coach just reamed me. He's like, will you stop putting that stuff out for free? This is the things people should be paying you for. And he's right? No ifs, ands, or buts.
He's right, but you have to do some good content for free. Yeah.
Is really important.
Yeah. You got to give something to people.
What?
You're not hearing me now? I hear you. Oh, hello? Now I don't hear you. I did hear you. Now I hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I do think that what you're saying is there's a yes and no to that. I think that's something, as long you got to give something away for free, but maybe that's too deep and you could actually build that into a purchase thing. So you do have to give content away for free, but it doesn't mean you couldn't package it up into something else. And
that was the idea, right? So, but his point was I used one of the bigger pieces, right? That's not bait. debate is, hey, here's how you change and personalize your URL.
Your profile,
right?
or,
Right?
yeah,
You have
exactly.
a custom URL, not, hey, this is where the flipping magic of the entire site is, and I just gave it to you. And he's right, and to the point, I didn't even ask for anything in return. More importantly, I didn't use it as a hook.
Sign up for my email list.
Nothing.
Yes, exactly.
Gave it.
We need another show on hooks and building your list.
I think that's good.
So let's get into, you just mentioned LinkedIn. So what do you do for LinkedIn? Is that a piece of what you do?
So I've done training and consulting and helped people with a LinkedIn strategy for years, right? And so that's one thing. And I've done social media consulting for years and helped people figure out the content and the frequency matrix of that content. And I've done that for a long time and helped them what kind of posts are going to attract their audience and where to spend time in groups. That's always been a good time. Obviously, I do a lot of speaking. Love being in front of an audience as a keynote speaker. That's all very fun and exciting. But right now, I'm going to focus a lot of my time coming up on this e-learning company. We had a guest on the show. One of the first shows we did together was Steve Sadler, right? And it was about being a creator as opposed to being a creative, because Steve builds shit. I mean, that's just all he does. He's an inventor. He's a technologist. He's an engineer. He's also an author. And so years back, he built a really cool e-learning platform. And this e-learning platform was so far ahead of its time that he actually got a patent on how he collects the information for the e-learning courses that he does and develops. So that part's cool. About a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, he got approached by Paul Allen's company. Those of you who know big companies might recognize Paul Allen as one of the leading guys in Microsoft. He got a company that he's involved in now that hired Steve to use that e-learning platform. So they did a rehash of it, right? So they made it a 2016 version of it now. And so we were looking at Steve's tech and like, we got to dust this off and go out and sell this because it's there, it's ready. So we got a really cool team. We partnered with this group out of Battle Creek called Core PHP. It's run by two twins, Mike and Steve Pignataro. Great guys, do a lot of work. In fact, Steve Pignataro was one of the original developers of Joomla. So way back when the open source platform was created, Steve was one of the guys building that. So I work with two Steves now, which makes it easy. Fortunately, one's a Steven and one's a Stefan. So it's a little easier. But yeah, so these guys are great. They're going to do the support. They're going to do some of the sales. And I'm going to be doing kind of, if you go check out my LinkedIn, evidently I'm the chief marketing officer. So that's
still in marketing.
That's marketing, pretty impressive.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
I don't take myself too seriously. But yeah, so good. It sounds super cool. I'm gonna leverage some of the marketing knowledge I have, right? But equally important, I'm gonna leverage the relationships I have. I'm gonna go kick down some doors and open them up and get people onto webinars to learn about this e-learning platform. But what's really cool about the e-learning platform is, for me, as a coach and a trainer and as a business developer, I can create content and I can put it out there behind a paywall and I can sell it. For you could sit there and create courses and do the same thing. But for a company like Honeywell or 3M, right, they can create actual training modules for their entire staff. So it scales from one person to the United States government, which is the single largest employer in the country, right? Bigger than Walmart, in case you were wondering. So it's pretty cool that it's that kind of robustness and that kind of flexibility. In the training I made, that LinkedIn training I made, I put it together in about 45 minutes, and I'd never seen the tool before, right? So the ease of use is nice. So that's kind of where I'm going to be spending some time. So I'll be in the e-learning space for a while.
The e-learning space is huge. I mean, it's for big companies, for the online, the little companies. If you can package something up into, we even interviewed Matt Pete last month. I mean, think about it. He's a photographer, and, if he wanted to teach that and put it into a course, into an e-learning course, it's a big, big thing. And it's complicated too. I mean, I have 2 courses, and we use a plugin on WordPress, and it's, oh my gosh, that was so much work to create that and build it, and I just don't even want to touch it or think about it again because it was so much work. But now there's a lot of good systems out there that, you could drag and drop. And I also have always wanted the kind that where you can tell people how far along they are in the, and then and then if they don't do it or if they haven't touched it, you email them and bug them about it, because otherwise a lot of times with my course, people don't get it done. And that's why I'm moving mine to more of a ongoing, where I'm in their face every single month, ongoing, because otherwise they'll forget they even purchased it. I've had so many emails that say, I haven't even touched, I bought your program like 6 months ago and I haven't even started it yet, And
it's crazy because then you feel bad because they're not getting the value that you intended them to get. And you had nothing to do with them not getting value. They screwed it up. But
if I could remind them more and it was automated with a software, that's where, and there are, I know there's many out there, and I'm sure the one you are, the e-learning system you're talking about has that built in, I'm sure.
It has a name, right? And as a marketing guy, I should probably say the name.
Yes, you probably should.
It seems like I would do that, right? But me being me, I'm just going to tell you about it, and then good luck finding it. Woohoo!
Yeah, exactly. No, what is the website?
What a goofball. The website is Ignite Cast. So just like Ignite and then Cast, and it's ignitecast.com. So it's pretty easy, right? And they originally built this course authoring tool so you could actually make the courses, and that was called Ignite. And then they built an LMS where the courses could live and be shared, and that was called Ignite Cast. And then they just combined both products and made it one. And it's just, it's so silly, easy to use. It's really perfect. And you can go and download it, and you can play around with it. And there's a free version of it that you can share training with up to 5 people and not pay a dime. So if you had a really small company, you could actually train them and not pay anything. And there's quizzes, so you can actually test these folks to make sure that they got the knowledge, and you can set, hey, this is the minimum score they have to get on this. So it's really, it's really, really well thought out and designed. And it's Ignite Cast, in case I didn't mention that 6 times yet.
Ignitecast.com. Alrighty.
.com. Yeah, so that's kind of fun. And then, so the rest of it. And
that's a needed thing in the marketing world. It's definitely very, very, Ernie needs to think about how they could package something up and sell it,
Absolutely, right? Here's the deal, man. If we're not figuring out how to have multiple streams of income, we're doing something wrong. In your knowledge base, right, the stuff between your ears, somebody, I don't know who, but somebody wants it and somebody needs it. And so this is a great way to capture that knowledge and be able to share it. And the other side of it, and why I'm interested in it, is you think about it right now, 11,000 people retire every single day. And that's going to be true for the next 16 years. 11,000 people retire daily. Think of all the knowledge that is walking out of companies, right? Gone. So it's a great time to be in the e-learning space. And I've got an affiliate program. So if you're thinking about how do I make some more money,
there you go.
That's what's up. So yeah, it's going to be fun.
Cool. Awesome. Well, that's cool. So that is ignitecast.com. I do want to bring up that I did, while we were talking, look up the past shows. Show number 66 was the one about our personal life that you mentioned. Yes. So if you want to hear about my cat, you can't miss it. And his bunny.
That was like 30 episodes ago, maybe 31.
Yeah, I know, we're close to that 100 mark. And then Steve, he was interviewed on show number 17.
17.
17. So that's been a while, long time. And that was called The Difference Between Being a Creative and a Creator.
Yes.
Steven Sadler.
Yeah. Good for you. Look at how, boom, just on it, Jamie.
Well, I didn't know we were going to be mentioning these shows, but we were, and I'm realizing as I'm looking at this, we need a search bar in our, so people could actually search and find it easily. So that's something, a to-do list for the blog.
Right. Perfect. All
yes.
Right. Well, good.
Yeah, awesome. Well, that's good. So you are going to be really diving into e-learning, but you also do marketing, consulting, and help with LinkedIn. myself. I do Facebook marketing. I do social media. I want to end with, I did pull up on my website, you can read this, but I did decide, I created this quote for myself, and so I'm going to end with reading it. It's social media and Facebook advertising have proven time and time again to reach the audience that is in need of your product. If done right, these can generate amazing amounts of reach, leads, and sales. Our goal is to help clients get the results they deserve and desire. So that's on my Facebook page at this point, or actually my website at this point, and Facebook. So I would love you guys. If you need some social media, come my way. If you need the LinkedIn social media, go Terry's way. Because I'm more we've talked about it. We kind of are separated in our social media worlds.
For sure.
Awesome.
This is cool. No, and that's a great quote and a great powerful reminder, like almost a guiding principle for what you do. And honestly, you know what, Ernie, we should all have that. We should have that driving force, right? This is our why. That's what you need to understand, and more importantly, be able to have people relate to. That's how you're known. You 3.0.
Awesome. So in our group, post what you do. When we post this, definitely post what you do and kind of really okay, I narrowed it down. We want to hear your action steps that you take from listening to this podcast. So our group is, speaking of the group, is businessgrowthtime.xyz, or just search it within Facebook, Business Growth Time. And then you can find all these past episodes at businessgrowthtime.com/podcasts or /blog, either one. All righty. Well, thank you guys for your time, and we will see you soon.